It's the Criterion Collection Film Club selection. It's the Criterion Collection Film Club.
Welcome back to Logan Toxic here. I'm not a film collector, I'm a film connoisseur. And a part of being a film connoisseur is I watch a lot of Criterion films. So I'm going to bring back the Criterion Film Club. So this month's selection will be Black Moon, directed by Louis Malle. I'm familiar with his work. He's a French director. I like him. He's kind of part of the French New Wave, I believe. He made a lot of movies in the 60s and 70s. So let's get to it. And it's a weird ass movie. It reminded me a lot, aka there are spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, pause this video right now and go on and jump on Hulu Plus, which is only $8 a month, because all the movies I'll be talking about in this film club will be on Hulu Plus, because they have like over 1,000 Criterion movies to stream instantly. So do that real quick and come back to the video, because we'll have a little film discussion here. So real quick, I like to compare this movie to Jean-Luc Godard's Weekend, where it's a total like fantasy movie. It doesn't take place in our reality. And unlike Godard's movie Weekend, where it's very pretentious and very malice, this movie, instead of, because Godard bashes all like the mediums of literature and music, and he just totally bashes it. He's very pretentious in the movie, and it's kind of like a snob. Where like Louis Malle is like, he loves like the fairy tale genre, and this is kind of like his ode to the fairy tale story arc, and it's just, I don't know, it's really cool, and it's really compelling, really engaging. So let me give you the brief description that IMDb has, because this movie is kind of all over the place, and they do a perfect description of it. To escape a war, a girl flees to a remote farmhouse and becomes part of an expansive family's unusual, perhaps even supernatural lifestyle. The beginning opens with she's driving her car all by herself. This is like in the 60s, it's in France, but we don't know that. There's a war taking place. You see tanks, you see explosions, you see people in military outfits with rifles and stuff like that, but then all of a sudden, men come walking along, and their prisoners are women, with their hands like this, and they line up all the women across the line. There's probably like a dozen or so women, and they just totally shoot all of them. And the soldiers are all men, so it seems like the war is against men versus women. I think that's where he was going with it. I don't know if that's the case, but I think I kind of figured out this movie towards the end. So I'll explain a little bit further. And so then she's kind of trying to escape the war vibe that's going on. And she crashes her car, she runs into the forest. And this movie's beautifully shot. Like, the cinematography is amazingly detailed. Kind of reminded me of like a Wes Anderson movie. This is how nicely shot it was. Very nice to look at, especially in HD. She crashes the car, she runs in the forest. She falls over. I think she goes to sleep or she goes unconscious. The movie's a lot like Alice in Wonderland. It's basically a copy of Alice in Wonderland. The girl reminds me what Alice would look like if she's 20 years old. So she wakes up to like bugs or whatever crawling on the grass, and she sees a donkey with a horn glued to his forehead. And it's obviously a unicorn, and reminds of a unicorn anyway. So she follows the unicorn wherever the unicorn goes. Much like Alice did with the rabbit. It's been a while since I've seen Alice in Wonderland, so I'm not quite sure on the specifics, but I'm pretty sure she follows like a white rabbit the whole time. And the same thing with our Alice in Black Moon, is she follows the donkey or the unicorn with the unicorn horn on his head or whatever to this like mansion. And there's only 4 characters in this entire movie. There's an old lady that never leaves her bed. That's the first person she meets in the house, who is talking to a rat. And the talk is gibberish. She speaks English, but it sounds like dubbed English. I think it's trying to get that fantasy feel to it. It's a French-made movie, but there's no French spoken in it at all. So that's kind of different. So this movie is really weird. It doesn't follow traditional story arcs, obviously. There's a scene where the old lady in the bed has like a 2-way radio or something, is talking about like the features of our Alice. So eventually something happens, and the old lady like kind of wakes up, like choking, like choking. Then Alice is startled and starts to scream. It cuts to Alice's face, and it cuts back to old lady choking, and all of a sudden you see like a soldier choking her, and then she screams again. and the soldier's gone, and you know, in our cutscene, soldier's gone, and it's the old lady choking herself again. So she goes and helps the old lady, and then the old lady starts choking her, and then our Alice slaps the old lady, and then the old lady dies, right? Just straight up dies, and then Alice runs for help, and the only help she finds is this guy who doesn't talk. And all he does is sing opera while he's burning the leaves in the front yard, and it's really cool. It's fun. I liked it. He doesn't talk. All he does is he plays with her shoulder, and that's how he talks. And I guess his name is Lily, and her name is Lily. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It doesn't make quite sense. Then we see like his sister or wife or what have you come. That nobody's talking. She's saying that the old lady's dead. Come help! Come help! Come help! Eventually they go out to see the old lady, and the old lady's fine. She's like looking in the mirror at herself in her bed, and she's hungry. She's making like sounds, and then the young woman, like the sister, like slowly unbuttons her shirt. I'm like, where is this going? And she like cleans her nipples with like alcohol or water or something, and then she starts feeding the old lady with her breasts. You know, like milk. It's like, what? This is crazy. I'm never going to get that image out of my head ever. I've seen a young woman like nurse an old lady. You just don't see that shit every day. There's like a lot of trippy moments like that throughout the whole film. And I have a friend on Twitter, Elias, who says this movie's about sexism and war. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Because I mean, and then there's like a lot of naked children running around. And you can't tell if they're really boys or girls because they're at an age where you just don't know who they are. So maybe the director is saying like we are all the same until we grow up and get older. I'm not quite sure, but I mean that's just one theory. Who knows? Nobody. I don't think anybody truly knows what this movie is about. So one of my favorite scenes in this movie is she keeps I really like how she leaves the scene. Like every scene that she leaves, she's like running frantically to the next scene. It's kind of cute, kind of charming, kind of like she's like a little girl running to the next place to go. But every scene, every time a scene ends, she's like frantically running somewhere else and stops and sees what's going on in that situation. So she sees the donkey in the front yard or the unicorn and like frantically runs after him. And she accidentally like stumbles over this big pig that the kids are like playing with. I don't know what the kids are doing. But you see the naked kids 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times throughout the movie. And there's like a gang of them, and they're always like messing around with the sheep or the pigs. I don't understand what that means. Maybe the director's saying that we are all sheep and pigs. You know, once again, who knows, right? So anyway, our main character stumbles over this huge pig. And then all these naked kids start like jumping on her and like fighting her, and she's like trying to get them off. And all of a sudden, you know, cut, and then it's like it shows her like fighting with herself. Like they're like the children weren't there to begin with. She's just flailing her arms on the ground, and then she really gets pissed off about this. And then she starts kicking the tree. She starts pulling flowers, and then you see the unicorn there just sitting there, you know, honestly. And then the unicorn starts to talk. He's like, "Why are you so mean?" And she's like, "What do you mean I mean?" You know. And the unicorn or donkey is like, "You're kicking that poor tree. You're killing those poor flowers." You know, while he's eating flowers, the unicorn. She's like, "Well, look at you. You're the one eating flowers." And then the donkey's like, "Let's change subjects." So random, so weird. I don't know. I kind of don't get it. And then the whole time, the brother and sister, you know, they sing opera. They don't talk. They burn leaves. I don't know. And they like house the children. And at the end, there's like this big play that our Alice plays the piano for. And there's a picture of a guy slaying an eagle with a woman looking by his side. And at the end of the movie, a big, huge eagle crashes into the house. You know, and then the guy gets his sword out. You know, starts chasing the eagle. Eventually kills the eagle. And then the sister gets super pissed off and tries to kill him. So they're running in the front yard, trying to kill him. And she eventually like, throws a big stone at his head, and he like becomes all, you know, out of a concussion. I don't know what's going on. He keeps stumbling out while she chases him. And then while this is happening, all of a sudden the war came back to the house. There's explosions and stuff like that. So my theory is that it's not really about sexism. I think it's like more personal to her. I think that that brother and sister could have been her mother or father, or some people really close to her, and while she was really young, she saw them fighting and killing each other. So now in this fantasy world, it begins with women versus men, them fighting and killing each other. So I think there's a more stronger correlation between those two elements. I don't think it really has to do with sexism. But who knows? This movie is up to interpretation. Nobody really knows what this movie is about. If you guys know what this movie is about, please comment below and tell us, because I would like to know. And then at the end of the movie, the old lady's gone. I don't remember exactly what happened to the old lady. I can't. This is not processing yet. But she eventually, I think she becomes the old lady because she crawls into bed and starts talking on the two-way radio. And then all of a sudden the unicorn's there by the fire. Oh yeah, Alice eventually nurses the old lady too. So that's kind of weird. And then at the end of the movie, the donkey's sitting by the fire. And Alice gets up from the bed. She's like, wait a second. And then she starts unbuttoning her shirt and she starts like rubbing her nipples with alcohol or water or whatever. So she's gonna like feed like the donkey now, or nurse the donkey now. And it's like a freeze frame with her like rubbing her nipples. It's like rub her nipples and like freeze frame. And then like that's the end of the movie. Yeah. So I really actually liked this movie. I was very engaged with it the whole time. I didn't get bored. I didn't get annoyed like I did with like Jean-Luc Godard's movie Weekend, where I just got really bored and really annoyed throughout that whole film. Where this film was actually engaging, and it caught me, and it kept me. I felt like invested in this film, so I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I'll give it on IMDb. I believe it got like 6.3 out of 10. I would personally give it a 7 out of 10 because I kind of liked it, so I recommend it. So I'll give you the selection for the next Criterion Film Club meeting or what have you. It's Cleo from 5 to 7. Directed by Agnes Verda. She's the wife of Jacques Demy, and she's almost probably more popular than him. And I haven't really seen any of her movies, so I'm really looking forward to checking that out for sure. She's another French New Wave director. Like, comment, and make sure to subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. Have you guys seen Black Moon? Tell me what it's about. Tell me if you guys got it. I'd really like to hear your opinions on this film. So anyways, alright.
It's
Peace.
Criterion Collection Film Club Selection. It's